Hi, I'm good. I'm good. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on this platform. How have you been?
हाँ ले रहा हूँ। सो आज का
All right.
हमारा मेन टॉपिक बॉडी इमेज है और
Okay.
हमारे पास जब हमारे पास आपके जैसे प्रोफेशनल है तो हमें मीनिंग समझाने की क्या ज़रूरत होगी। तो
Hmm.
लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द मीनिंग। तो हम चाहेंगे कि आप हमारे ऑडियंस को बेसिक मीनिंग बता दीजिए बॉडी इमेज का ताकि उनको समझ में आ सके।
Hmm. ये ऐसे तो हमें जनरली बहुत ही छोटा टॉपिक लगता है that we're just talking about body image. How can it be so complex? But it is very complex.
हम्म
When we talk about image and then we talk about body specifically, इसका ये मतलब होता है कि how do we perceive our bodies? सामने शीशे में जैसे हम दिख रहे हैं, is that exactly how we perceive in our heads, or is it
हम्म
something absolutely different? Now body image, आपको एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग बात बताऊंगी। जब हम आंखों से देखते हैं, वो जो उसका रिफ्लेक्शन है इन आर आईज, इन आर रेटिना, इज ऑलवेज द ऑपोजिट ऑफ इट, सो it's always reversed and it's upside
हम्म
down, right? In the same way, the way our retina understands our image is very different from its reality. And this is what we talk about today in terms of body image. कैसे हम खुद की बॉडी एक सोसाइटी में देखते हैं, एक आइसोलेशन में देखते हैं. हाउ डू वी परसीव आवर बॉडी इन in not just isolation but also between people, amongst people. Yeah.
हम्म। तो मतलब बेसिकली हर किसी का डेफिनेशन बॉडी इमेज के लिए अलग अलग हो सकती है।
एब्सोल्युटली. आपको एक एग्जांपल दे सकती हूँ कि अगर आप किसी को देखते हो और आपको लगता है कि अरे ये तो यार बहुत ही सुंदर इंसान है, absolutely is very good looking, has all the features that one person could call beautiful, but अगर आप उस इंसान से पूछोगे, वो बोलेंगे यार नहीं, मैं तो ठीक नहीं हूँ, कुछ गड़बड़ है मेरे बॉडी में. It's because they see it that way. They don't see
हम्म
it the way others perceive them. They mostly see it the way they see themselves. And it is way more complex than how I just described it, because अगर डिस्क्रिप्शन में कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी डाल दूंगी तो फिर डेफिनेशन समझ नहीं आएगा.
हाँ। तो एक होता है नेगेटिव बॉडी इमेज और एक होता है पॉजिटिव।
हम्म.
तो इन दोनों में फर्क क्या होता है?
पॉजिटिव बॉडी इमेज का मतलब ये हुआ कि आप अपने आप को एक अच्छे नज़रिए से देखते हो, that
हम्म
you think you can carry yourself better, that you don't care about your height, you don't care about your weight, you don't care whether your nose is crooked or not. You accept yourself as you are, and that
हम्म
is a positive kind of body image. No, I know I can ace this. Generally ये बहुत कम लोगों में होता है because of how much pressure there is to look a certain way in our society. The positive body image is found in people who accept themselves however they are. They don't care if other people are judging them. They don't care how a piece of cloth looks on them. And जब मैं ये बता रही हूँ, I'm trying to think of a person who does have positive body images, and मन में ज़्यादा लोग नहीं आ रहे हैं. I remember one of my best friends. She is very confident of her body and everything, but जैसे ही her body started changing, she started having doubts. Oh, what if I'm not as good as I was before? So our body image is also one. It could be negative, it could be positive, but it can keep changing. अगर आपका 3-4 साल तक काफी पॉजिटिव रहा है, it's a possibility that next time it's negative. Negative body image का मतलब ये है कि you don't think there's anything good about your body. That maybe ठीक है, मेरा बाल अच्छा होगा, but I don't think my arms are good enough, or I don't think I look good enough for anyone else. So these are the things that come into the negative body image part.
जैसा आपने बोला कि हम हमारी सोसाइटी एक स्पेसिफिक
Mhm.
चीज को कहते हैं कि ये अच्छा है।
Yeah.
तो आपको क्या लगता है कि वो क्या है वो फीचर्स जो सोसाइटी को अच्छे लगते हैं?
सो इंटरेस्टिंगली हर सोसाइटी में डिफरेंट डिफरेंट फीचर्स माने जाते हैं. जैसे अगर आप साउथ कोरिया जाओगे, वहाँ पे लेडीज नीड टू बी अंडर द weight of 65 kgs. Height, weight does not matter. You have to be as thin as possible, right? For
हम्म
that, for them, that is the societal image. For men, there, no beard, nothing. You need to be as slim again.
जी।
let's say you come to our country, India में हर region में अलग अलग तरीके के societal images हैं. If you go to the North India, there you want a woman who's slim, a woman who's fair, a guy who's fair, and who's again who does not have like a tond right in front of them. That is the picture. But then you go towards South India. South India, you want voluptuous people. You want people who come from wealthy families. In South India, wealth is more important than how much you weigh. Then you go to the Northeast. Northeast, you might find a lot of tribal people, and tribal people have a very different image of themselves. So every society, even in one country, several societies have a very different image that they want their people to look as, and that depends upon their culture, their eating habits, the way they have grown up, the the way they want their children to grow up, all of these things.
तो मेनली जो हमारी मेंटल हेल्थ को अफेक्ट करता है वो हमारी नेगेटिव बॉडी इमेज होती है जो हमें बाद में प्रॉब्लम होती है। क्या लगता है आपको कि आजकल जो बच्चे हैं उनमें वो नेगेटिव इमेज क्यों ज़्यादा आ रही है? क्योंकि पहले इतना नहीं हुआ करता था, आई गेस। अब बहुत ज़्यादा, बहुत कम एज में शुरू हो जाता है वो चीज़ें।
uh, मेरा ये मानना है कि पहले भी इतना ही होता था, हमेशा से इतना ही होता आ रहा है, बहुत टाइम से होता आ रहा है कि बच्चे बच्चियों के ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर है to look a certain way and that people are always conscious about their bodies. And we are more aware of it now because there are platforms like that. पहले Instagram नहीं था, पहले Facebook नहीं था, पहले podcast नहीं होते थे. So people could not have a platform where they would know कि okay ये सिर्फ मेरे साथ नहीं हो रहा है, ये बहुत सारे
हम्म।
अलग लोगों के साथ हो रहा है. तो ये हमेशा से, ये पीढ़ियों से चलता आ रहा है. आप मेरी मेरी दादी को देखोगे, उनके पास कुछ बोलने को है मेरी माताजी या मेरे पिताजी के बारे में, या उनसे ऊपर भी हर टाइम हर जनरेशन में people have been conscious about their bodies. Now it seems more prevalent because people are talking about it more. Otherwise, अगर अभी भी बात नहीं कर रहे होते तो nobody would actually give a shit about body image issues at all. So yeah, I think it has always been prevalent because physical appearance is the first thing people judge, is the first thing people can lay eyes on. क्योंकि आप इनर जानने के लिए थोड़ा टाइम लगता है, फिजिकल अपीयरेंस सबसे पहले दिखता है, एंड फिजिकल अपीयरेंस मीन्स बॉडी एंड हाउ यू लुक एट समवन्स बॉडी.
तो जैसे थोड़े टाइम पहले इंटरनेट पे ट्रेंड चला था, मोस्टली ये वुमेन में ज़्यादा था कि बीइंग फैट इज़ ब्यूटीफुल।
हम्म.
तो आपको क्या लगता है कि बीइंग फैट इज एक्चुअली ब्यूटीफुल, और या वो सिर्फ अपने उस चीज को छुपाना चाह रहे हो?
ये बहुत ही controversial question है, and one big problem with this question was also that it was not catering to men, that this
हम्म।
whole campaign was only for women. And this was mainly for women because generally when we talk about bodies and the way bodies are perceived, it's heavily endowed on women. It is also endowed on men, but ratio wise में women ज़्यादा they are on target of
हम्म।
how you're carrying yourself. Now this whole movement was not saying that you have to be fat, and if you're fat, if you're obese, it's okay. They didn't mean that. They meant that if you have curves, if you're a little on the heavier side, does not mean you are an ugly person. And that is what
हम्म।
they wanted. They wanted acceptance of women who were going through a lot, who just were a little towards the fatter side, towards the heavier side, and not the lean, completely lean side that people talk about. The issue with this is that आपको लगेगा कि जो भी पतला है उसका health habits तो बहुत ही अच्छा होगा, वो तो उफ, they must be more athletic, they must be able to do everything. That's not true. I have seen a lot of lean people having pizza every day, have the worst habits in life, but because their metabolism is fast, because their genetics are like that, they are lean. I have seen people on the heavier side work more, have more stamina, have more health control. The only issue is that because itna stigma hai around being fat, around being on the heavier side, they're not able to enjoy what they do. I have seen weightlifting में there have been a lot of heavy women and they have been bashed by people कि तुम क्या उठा रहे हो, तुम तो मोटे हो. But they can lift as heavy as anybody else could. So I think the whole campaign was to start a dialogue about about women who were who were on the heavier side, who had fat. Saying that you are fat is a very wrong thing. You have fat is more acceptable, and this way they wanted them to be accepted in society. अरे जब इंसान की शादी भी होने वाली होती सबसे पहले कि अरे दुल्हन मोटी है या पतली है. It does not matter as much if you don't look beyond that. And that is why this whole campaign happened. One of my friends who was a male, he complained that, I also deal with it. Why is nobody talking about me? And I wish there were more men talking about how much they face this, how much they face discrimination on the basis of how they look. But men don't come out because this is more embarrassing for them. Women do speak up way more than men when it comes to emotions, when it comes to um, them feeling a certain way.
जैसे सोशल मीडिया आज के टाइम में बहुत ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्ट डालता है इन सब चीज़ों पे।
Yeah.
तो क्या आपको क्या लगता है कि सोशल मीडिया से हम लोगों का या स्पेशली जो टीनेजर्स है उनका परसेप्शन कैसे चेंज हो?
Hmm. Social media is a huge reason why there are more body issues, body image issues now. और मैं आपको बताऊंगी कैसे. पहले अ, जब इंस्टाग्राम फेसबुक इतना नहीं फेमस था, men did have a problem. Now men want muscles, they want abs, they want a particular bodybuilding kind of a body because social media में वैसे ही लोग अब बिकते हैं. I'm saying
हम्म।
बिकते हैं because that is what you do. You sell your image on social media to sell your things, right? So one is that when people see men on social media who are getting a lot of clout, getting a lot of popularity, these men have muscles. They look a certain way.
हम्म।
They are tall, they have enough hair, and they have biceps, they have triceps, and they have abs, and they are in the gym all the time. So this creates a whole narrative कि अगर जो बंदा है वो जिम जाता है, muscles है, तो he's good looking. That if they have a particular way that they look, they're good looking people. Similarly with women, you go on Instagram now, there's a huge culture of thick women where you have a very thin waist but you have a big ass, you have like heavy breasts, and that is a new narrative that has come on social media, and men love it, and men thrive for it. So now women are like, okay, if I look only this way, that is the only way I'm going to get a partner, otherwise nobody's going to think they like me. So now you would see a lot of women doing fat diets, doing doing workouts which are stupid, but because they guarantee a certain kind of way you will look, that's why people have started doing that. Social media is one of the biggest places that influences you. Even as a kid, even as a teenager, now every kid has a phone, every kid has Instagram. 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, all these people have started gymming. When I remember I was in 11th grade, I started gymming because I had knee issues. मेरे को लगा मुझे बूढ़ा नहीं होना बड़े होके. But my reason was not to become a certain way. Now 15, 14-year-olds are joining the gym because they want to look a certain way. And they're ready to take steroids, they're ready to take any supplement that is available. And it is dangerous because now your body image depends on how the world is going to look at you, not what you feel comfortable in. They might start liking the sport. हो सकता है कि उनको जिम सच में अच्छा लगता हो. But are they actually doing it for the sport, or are they doing it to look a certain way? So that is the difference that people often forget. There's a very important part I'll tell you here, that there's a very famous bodybuilder called Ben Carpenter, okay, and he used to have abs. He was like shredded, okay. He was the definition of a muscular body of a man, and he opened up about it and he said, when I had abs, I was the most unhappiest person in the world because I didn't
Right.
eat enough properly. I didn't drink water properly. That my body image was the most important. मुझे abs चाहिए तो मैं sugar नहीं खा सकता, मैं life जी नहीं सकता. I can't go out with my friends. I
हम्म।
stopped going out with my friends. I stopped partying. I stopped indulging in cake. I stopped indulging in healthy habits like eating fruit. And that's how I got the abs. I was the most unhappiest person. And then when I stopped obsessing about how I'm looking, I'm way better now. I indulge in a donut sometimes. I indulge in a nice party sometimes. पहले नहीं करता था, और पहले my life was the worst. Except the only good thing was that I had abs. So people thought I had the healthiest body and mind, but unfortunately it was not true. So this is one thing that people don't know, that the social media shows you the picture, the video, probably the reel, but they don't show you the background of it. Because if you get to know, all the stars, all the Bollywood actors, they deprive themselves of water and salt 3 days before the shoot. They do not have an ab continuously throughout the year. It's impossible. So
हम्म,
that is one thing that people don't know about.
तो जैसे हमने अभी बात की कि ईटिंग बहुत ज़्यादा उस पे अफेक्ट करती है हमारा, हम जो खा रहे हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा अफेक्ट कर रहा है। तो आपको क्या लगता है कि जो हमारी बॉडी इमेज है वो हमारी ईटिंग हैबिट्स या फिर उससे और ज़्यादा क्या प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है हमें, जैसे डिप्रेशन एग्जाइटी हो जाते हैं तो क्या फैक्टर्स होते हैं जो उसको आगे जाके कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं?
Contribute to body image or the other
नो,
things.
अदर थिंग्स।
So, oh, so the issue with body image is that, let's say, not let's say, it's true. Body image issues start the moment you are a teen. teen से
हम्म।
पहले उतना लोग परेशान नहीं करते. The moment you are 11 years old, 12 years old, the whole family starts thinking about it. And this, I'm talking from a woman's perspective because I have dealt with that and I can talk about it. From the man's perspective, I would love to hear what you guys go through, because I would hate to talk from the man's side. So from the women's side, they start developing secondary sex organs, the breasts and everything, and they have a huge body change. So people start commenting on that a lot, especially the family members, and and the people at school. So school becomes a huge factor of how you start seeing yourself. There will be women who would be slim and they would get more attention from men, and they would get more attention from teachers. But the women who start becoming heavier towards their teen ages, these people start having self-esteem issues. Ki, oh, I'm not good enough. I don't think I can raise my hand because I'm too shy to talk about it. I think that also applies to men. That when men start developing hair, and that when they start getting on a heavier side, or if they don't develop hair, or if they are way more lanky, they are always shy of raising their hands. That they question their self-esteem. Oh, I don't think any boy or girl will like me because I don't have the things that that woman has, which is very similar to what happens on social media. So
हम्म।
first, the self-esteem is the biggest issue that happens. आपको घर पे भी सुनाई दे रहा है कि मम्मी बोल रही हैं, यार तुम खाना कम खाया करो, मोटी हो रही हो, ठीक है? आप स्कूल जाते हो, टीचर्स आर द बिगेस्ट रीजंस व्हाई children end up feeling the worse about their bodies. Because I know so many teachers in my school who used to comment on bodies of women, bodies of men, and they would say it in front of the whole class. So it's humiliation. You're humiliating a teenager in a classroom in front of their friends, making making it very clear that you don't deserve anything. You are just supposed to be standing here, and that crushes the human being. I tell you that it crushes. You think people will forget, that people don't. These things just stick with you, like your heartbeat. You
हम्म।
remember that till the end of time. These are humiliating times that people will always remember. So when these things happen, your self-esteem gets crushed. You start thinking you're not good enough. The moment you start thinking you're not good enough, you will start questioning everything in your life. And that is when anxiousness comes in. Anxiousness disorder की बात कर ही नहीं रही मैं बोल रही हूँ घबराहट. So now when you have less self esteem, आपको confidence नहीं है ज़्यादा, आपको बर्थडे पार्टी में बुलाते हैं. Now you're anxious what to wear, what will make me
हम्म।
less, what will make me more glamorous, what will not let others judge me what I'm wearing. So people start obsessing over the fact that, oh, what should I buy, what should I wear. So now you will see a lot of people buying so many clothes. Mintra se le lo, Amazon se le lo, trying so many clothes, going out of parties and seeing so many outfit ideas on social media. I am 26 and I see social media and I buy clothes. But at the same time, a 16-year-old is watching the same social media, same woman, and buying the same clothes, which is also why the women who dress up who are 16 and women who dress up at 26, they look the same because they're dressing the same way. So
हम्म।
अभी आपका सेल्फ एस्टीम नीचे है, कॉन्फिडेंस नीचे है, योर anxious now of how you will look. So that's why when people go to school, they start putting lip balms, they start putting kajals because they want to look a little different. Men start combing their hairs, growing their beards because they want to look different. And eventually, you go to the party, you realize that nobody's really paying attention, nobody complimented you. So either
Hmm.
way, your fear that, oh, nobody's looking at me, nobody's seeing me. And by seeing, I don't mean in a creepy, by seeing, I mean that nobody acknowledges my presence. So if nobody acknowledges my presence, I might be alone. And you would think ये तो बहुत far fetch हो गया यार, अचानक से इतना इंसान alone कैसे सोचेगा, but they do. The moment they're alone at a party where nobody is acknowledging their presence, that's the conclusion they come to. Oh, I'm going to die alone, this is how it's going to be forever. And that is what they believe in now. They believe that they don't look good enough, that there will be no woman or no man who would be interested in them. And that's also when they start hiding behind the screens. Generally इस मौके पे लोग online dating start करते हैं, virtual dating, where they don't have to face people because they're not sure of what they are going to look as in front of these other people. So do you see how this one particular small thing can start a series of anxiousness, depressive moods, shutting yourself inside your room because, I don't want to go to that party, I don't have any new clothes. आई डोंट वांट टू गो आउट बिकॉज मेरे पास यार होली है, होली पे ना कम से कम वाइट कुर्ता पजामा तो पहनना चाहिए, बट वो मेरे पास नहीं है. So I will not go out, I'll not play. So you start isolating yourself. Now in your teenage years, if you're isolating yourself, if you're not going out, you're not growing, it can lead to a lot of mental health issues. Majority anxiousness, anxiety issues, and also depressive symptoms can occur.
जैसे क्या होता है कि तब वो लोग जिनको आपने जैसे भी बताया कि अकेला फील होने लग जाता है,
Mhm.
वो ऑनलाइन डेटिंग शुरू कर देते हैं, स्क्रीन्स के पीछे छुप जाते हैं। और फिर वहाँ पे उनको अब सोशल मीडिया है तो उनको हर टाइप का कंटेंट मिलेगा, उनको ऐसा कंटेंट भी मिलेगा जिसमें वो उनको उनकी साइड लेगा वो, और उनको लगेगा कि हाँ मैं सही हूँ, शायद उनमें ही कुछ गलती है।
Mhm.
और फिर वो चीज़ जो उनमें शायद अच्छी नहीं है, वो उस चीज़ को उन चीज़ों के पीछे छुपाना शुरू कर देंगे, और वो फिर शायद बेटर भी ना हो पाए उस वजह से। और क्या अब स्कूल्स में नॉर्मली होता है कि अब मीम कल्चर है, अब सबको एक दूसरे का मजाक उड़ाना है।
Yeah.
तो कई बार हम ऐसे किसी को कुछ बोल देते हैं तो हमें लगता है कि हमने तो मजाक किया है, पर कुछ बच्चे होते हैं जिनको ज्यादा ही बुली करने की आदत होती है, और वो उनको फर्क भी नहीं पड़ता कि सामने वाले को वो चीज़ कैसी फील हो रही है। मतलब अभी मेरी 12th हुई है, मैंने काफी देखा है बच्चों को एक दूसरे के साथ करते हुए। और उनको फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि उन्होंने कुछ बोला तो वो दूसरे को क्या फ़ील कर रहा है। उसका घर जाके वो के शायद किसी से बात भी नहीं कर पाएगा उस बारे में। लाइक बहुत बच्चों में आजकल लाइक बहुत ज़्यादा होता है ये, और ये भी नहीं है कि सिर्फ़ जो बड़े हैं 11th-12th उनमें हो रहा है। मैंने 7th 8th 6th
Yeah.
क्लास में भी बच्चों को ऐसे देखा है। मतलब अगर कोई किसी में वेट ज़्यादा है, कोई मोटा है अगर, उसको इंक्लूड नहीं करेंगे, वो अकेला ही रह जाता है, और फिर वो बहुत ज़्यादा सेल्फ डाउट्स आ जाते हैं छोटे-छोटे।
Believe me, this used to happen to me when I was in school. Throughout six, I remember school mostly six ke baad, or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. I have seen this in every class. I have seen women and men, boys and girls who were on the heavier side discriminated against.
हुँ,
उनको स्पोर्ट्स में इंक्लूड नहीं करते थे, उनको ग्रुप्स में इंक्लूड नहीं करते थे, पार्टीज में इंक्लूड नहीं करते थे, एंड मोस्ट ऑफ ऑल जो आप बोल रहे हो बुली करना, इनके लिए मजाक होता था कि अरे उसको मोटा बुला दो, मोटी बुला दो, अरे तुम तो मोटे
हुँ।
हो यार, तुमसे कुछ नहीं होगा, तुम क्या ही कर लोगी. एंड जस्ट कीप मेकिंग फन ऑफ देम इवन दो दे थिंक it's making fun, but it becomes traumatic for the person going through with it because it's attacking the person that they are completely.
और सिर्फ़ आई फ़ील कि सिर्फ़ बच्चे नहीं करते, कई बार टीचर्स की तरफ से भी काफ़ी हो जाता है। ये कुछ कई बार कुछ ऐसे फंक्शन वगैरह उसमें वो पर्टिकुलर से डांस करते हैं, उसमें
Mm-hmm.
वो जो बच्चे अच्छे नहीं दिखते, शायद उनको या तो वो ले
Yeah,
ही ना, और अगर लेंगे
absolutely.
तो उनको लास्ट में जहाँ पे वो शायद दिख भी ना रहे हो, वहाँ जाके खड़ा कर देना।
यू विल नॉट बिलीव, एक एड बनने वाला था हमारे स्कूल में, ठीक है।
अच्छा।
और उस एडवर्टीजमेंट के लिए कुछ वो आए थे, शूट करने वाले लोग आए थे। वो क्लास में घुसे और उन्होंने ऐसे पॉइंट किया 6 बच्चों के, ठीक है, ये बच्चे उठ के बाहर आ जाओ। these were these were boys and girls who were fair, who were thin, who were more attractive in terms of society. These children were chosen and they were put in the ad. अब जो
हम्म।
बाकी जो 40 और बच्चे हैं क्लास में, what do they think? They'll think, oh, so these are the most prettiest people and I can never be like them. I will never be chosen in a shoot or an ad. I will never be chosen. And that was the word. I will never be a choice because I'm not good enough. And this happens so commonly. Principal, teachers, and you're very right, teachers are the biggest, most discriminative people. There's a whole concept called the pretty privilege, जहाँ अगर आप प्रिटी हो आपके पास बहुत प्रिविलेजेस होते हैं, आपने होमवर्क नहीं भी किया तो टीचर कुछ नहीं बोलेगी। आप
हम्म।
बदमाश हो लेकिन आप ऐसे क्यूट बॉय हो, ये चॉकलेट बॉय हो, टीचर कुछ नहीं बोलेगी। यू डू वट एवर यू डू इन क्लास एंड शी विल नॉट से एनीथिंग। लेट्स से यू आर a little brownish in your complexion, you are a little everyday looking guy, they will have a huge problem. And that's where pretty privilege gets taken away. And I didn't know about pretty privilege. I got to know in college, and it's a very real thing. And not because मेरे college में होता था, but because there was a lot of discussion around body image. Colleges में जाके बच्चों को body image के बारे में पता चलता है because there are so many people, so many different kinds of people around them. So yeah.
हम्म। वेल आई फील जैसे आपने अभी एड का एग्जांपल,
Mm-hmm.
तो उसमें अब दो चीजें हो सकती है कि क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली बात है कि वो सबको तो नहीं ले सकते उनको, वो कुछ ही बच्चों को ले सकते हैं, वो कुछ को ही लेंगे। पर आई फील जो उसमें काफी बच्चे होंगे जो नहीं लिया गया जिनको, उनमें से कुछ तो ऐसे बिल्कुल उनके दिल पे लगने वाली बात हो जाएगी कि हमें नहीं लिया। पर कुछ बच्चे आई फील ऐसे भी होंगे जो शायद सोचेंगे कि अब मुझे इतना बेटर बनना है कि
Yeah.
अगली बार ऐसे कुछ हो तो मैं हूँ अब। तो आई फील हमारा थोड़ा अगर ज्यादा उस साइड पे हो कि हाँ मुझे भी करना है next, तो आई फील इतनी ज्यादा वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी। तो इस चीज
इतना
की
भी
अवेयरनेस
करना,
होना भी जरूरी
uh,
जरूरी है।
आपका प्रश्न ये था कि इतना भी, मतलब जब वो बच्चे जो चूज नहीं हुए हैं दे स्टार्ट वांटिंग टू बिकम लाइक द अदर किड्स, इज दैट व्हाट यू वर सेइंग? नहीं।
पर नहीं एग्जैक्टली नहीं, पर
Mhm.
वो अपने आप को बेटर बनाए। जैसे अगर कोई फैट है तो वो शायद वेट लूज कर सकता है क्योंकि वेट लूज करने में उसका ही फायदा होगा आगे जाके।
ठीक है, आपको एक बात बताती हूँ कि जरूरी नहीं है पतले लोग हेल्दी हैं।
हाँ ये तो है।
या, एंड जरूरी नहीं है जो फैट पीपल हैं दे आर अनहेल्दी।
हम्म।
The issue is of the image. And more so, what I think is going to happen when these people, when the people who are on the heavier side start wanting to become like the people who were chosen, it will give way to eating disorders. वो खाना
हम्म।
खाना छोड़ देंगे, वो दोपहर में नहीं खाएंगे, सिर्फ मम्मी को बोलेगी मम्मी सिर्फ मैं रात में खाऊंगी या खाऊंगा। मम्मी कल
हम्म।
से ना चिप्स बंद, कल से ओनली घर का खाना एवरी डे। यू गो आस्क दैट थिन गाय, ही ईट्स चिप्स एवरी डे।
फिर ये तो अच्छी बात हुई ना उनके लिए।
That's what the point is. People don't look at people and think कि ये healthy है या unhealthy है. They just think अगर ये,
बैलेंस नहीं कर
yeah,
पाते हैं।
if they are thin they must be healthy, but that's not true. People lose weight when they have cancer. How is that a marker of health? If that was a marker of health, then people would not lose weight if they had cancer. I know someone who used to get a lot of compliments. Oh, you have lost so much weight. You look amazing. They were dealing with cancer. And
हम्म।
that's my point. My point is that if your marker of health is weight, then it's a wrong marker, because it does not mean that if you have a if you are on the heavier side that you are wrong. See, I'm not talking about obesity. Obesity is a disorder where you are so much way more fat that it will harm your heart, it will harm your health innately. But when I say heavier side, people who are just, a little more heavier than normal,
हम्म।
it's not life threatening. People who have curves, women who have curves, are not, their lives are not life threatening. They will not develop diseases like an obese person will. अगर आप क्लास 10th में हो and if you're 120 kgs, that's obesity, that's a problem, that will help you get better. But if you're in class 10th, you're just a little more bigger than every other person in the class, does not mean you're unhealthy.
हम्म
सो अगर ये सारे बच्चे उन बच्चों के पीछे जाते रहे कि नहीं मुझे ऐसा बनना है, फिर वो फेयर एंड लवली यूज करने लगते हैं, कम खाना
हम्म
खाने लगते हैं, कम खुश होने लगते हैं, and they tire themselves so much out that it affects their gut health. And I'll tell you what happens when things affect your gut health. जब आपका पेट ठीक नहीं है, मन ठीक नहीं है.
हम्म
Your gut is directly connected to how you feel. And if it's not good, you will not feel good. Serotonin is this hormone which is directly linked to happiness. Serotonin ज़्यादा है तो यार मैं खुश हूँ. पेट में सबसे ज़्यादा serotonin होता है. और अगर वो कम हुआ, because you're not eating, because there's no digestion happening, you will not be happy. You will be losing weight, but you won't be happy.
हम्म
And then you have to choose: do you want to be happy and actually be comfortable in your skin, or do you want to just follow some random chick or guy because they were chosen for an ad? So this is the
हम्म।
choice that teenage kids get, but they don't know about all of this because they're never taught about all of this.
तो जो बच्चे हैं वो कैसे अपनी बॉडीज को एक्सेप्ट करना सीख सकते हैं अर्ली एज में?
That's a big question because there are a lot of factors that they'll have to control. पहला अगर समझो मैंने accept कर भी लिया कि listen, I don't have a problem with my body. I'm happy. I can play badminton every day. I eat very healthy. I am good. I'm just a little curvaceous. I'm happy. But ये घर जाती है और घर जाके इसको बहुत सुनना पड़ता है अपनी माता जी से, अपने पिताजी से कि बेटा start losing weight. No, you're not looking good.
हम्म
You have to start losing weight. Start eating less. So even though I accept my body, there'll be a lot of other people who won't be accepting it. And for a teenage, for them, everything that their world is from other people.
हम्म
यार वो लड़की अच्छी है, सुंदर है, मेरे को उसको डेट पे लेके जाना है, बट मेरे दोस्त बोल रहे नहीं पटेगी, सो आई विल नॉट गो एंड अप्रोच her. This happens
हम्म
very often because influence in teenage years is the maximum through other people, not through ourselves. And in this time, a school counselor is very important. But school counselors right now in the country are very उन्हें सब्स्टिट्यूट में डाल देते हैं, मैथ पढ़वाने दे देते हैं, लाइफ डेवलपमेंट करवाते हैं, बट दे डोंट make them reach out to kids who are actually going through all of this. और फिर यही लोग बड़े होके counselors के पास आते हैं,
हम्म।
getting the same issues to us while dealing with them so heavily, so problematically.
तो इस मतलब मोस्टली इस टाइम में उनका जो सपोर्ट हो सकता है वो मेनली फैमिली हो सकती है, पर
Family, teachers, and education. So you know how people were talking about कि सबको sex education do ताकि they know what is good touch, what is bad touch. Make everybody educated about bodies, about body image, what is wrong with them, what is not wrong with them, what is a body doing for them, what do you need to strive towards. You don't need to strive towards an abs or towards like a thin hourglass figure. You need to strive towards strength, towards stamina, towards being able to run enough, have fun. All of these things should be the criteria, not a particular way a body looks like. So, if schools start having this in the curriculum, it's going to help the teenagers themselves. कि ठीक है, fine, they can go home and then tell their parents that you are doing the wrong thing to me. That I am happy in my body, you are making me feel bad about my body. I am not going to listen to you. So that is going to help for sure.
तो लेकिन पर काफी बार होता है कि पेरेंट्स नहीं समझ पाते अपने बच्चों की बात की क्या गो थ्रू कर रहा है। तो एक क्या चीजें हैं जो शायद एक पेरेंट को हेल्प करे अपने बच्चे को ज्यादा समझने के लिए इन चीजों
बहुत ही क्लीशेड है, पर अगर अपने बच्चों से बात करेंगे तो उन्हें पता चलेगा.
में?
there's a whole story कि एक बच्चा था, वो हर रोज आके अपनी माँ को कहानी सुनाता था कि उसके स्कूल में क्या हुआ. एवरी डे from nursery to class 5 he used to tell his mom everything. In class 5 what happened, one day he came back home and he was telling her everything. She was like, listen, बाद में कल बताना. तो वो कल आया. कल भी उन्होंने बोला ठीक है बेटा अभी नहीं, प्लीज प्लीज बाद में बताना, अभी नहीं सुनना मुझे। ये ऐसे 4 दिन हुआ। फिफ्थ डे द किड डिडंट गो टू द पेरेंट। The kid eventually stopped going to the parent because they thought they're not going to listen to me. They were not listening to me, they will still not listen. So that means that these people are not open to what I have to provide them.
हम्म,
जब बच्चा टीनेज इयर्स हिट करता है द पेरेंट्स हैव टू बी दैट सेंसिटिव कि मैं खुद जाके पूछूं, हे यू नो टेल मी व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, आई एम राइट हियर, कुछ मैंने गलत किया मुझे बताओ। और वो नहीं करते। पेरेंट्स नहीं करते, उनकी गलती नहीं है क्योंकि उन्हें भी कभी ऐसा कुछ नहीं मिला। They are also parents for the first time, but the issue is that people just stop talking during their teenage years. People just stop talking to each other. They stop talking about emotions. They talk about हाँ 10th में कौन सा कोर्स लेना है, but they don't talk about स्कूल में कैसा लगा, how did you feel after you। सब पूछते हैं कि टीचर ने डांटा क्या, तो उसने बोला हाँ टीचर ने डांटा, but then what, how did you feel, do you think you did something wrong। ask these questions parents don't know and parents need to be told। उनको नहीं समझ आएगा, मैं काउंसलर हूँ तो मुझे समझ आता है, बट they won't know। So this is what a school counselor should also be doing, should also be going to parents and be like, hey you have to ask your children if everything is okay। आपको नहीं पूछा गया, you can't take it out on your kids। अरे हम तो अपने जमाने में ऐसा कुछ नहीं करते थे, ठीक है आपका जमाना डिफरेंट था, आपके ज़माने में तो डेवलपिंग नेशन भी नहीं था, अब हमारा है। And with developing nations, a lot of other things come into picture which were not there in your life।
हम्म,
So I think the school can take it up to make the parents know what the teenagers can go through in terms of body image issues।
और जो ये हमारी अंदर बॉडी हमारी जैसी है, वो भी हमारे फैमिली डायनेमिक्स की वजह से ही होती है, हमारी जीन्स, इसका।
Absolutely।
तो नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है कि हमारे जो कल्चर नॉर्म्स होते हैं या सोसाइटी जब हमें कुछ बोलती है, कोई तीसरा बंदा आके हम कुछ हमारे बारे में कमेंट कर, तो वो चीज़ अब मुझे नहीं लगता कि जो टीनेजर्स होंगे वो स्पेशली वो फेस कर पाएंगे उसको या उसको शायद जवाब दे पाएंगे। तो जब वो घर बैठ के उस बारे में सोचेंगे तो क्या चीज़ है जो शायद उनको हेल्प कर सकते हैं इसे डील करने
I think teenagers are the most resilient people I've ever known। By resilient, I mean सबसे ज़्यादा emotionally fighting people I've known, because they go through absolutely so many changes altogether: school changes, family changes, the way their body changes, the way their thinking changes। And I think we always as a society underestimate the way kids function, we
में।
underestimate what all they can handle। तो बच्चे हैंडल तो कर लेते हैं, बट जब वो हैंडल करते हैं तो उसका जो बैगेज होता है, it it stays, you know it, there was this very famous line कि trauma does not happen because it happened to you, trauma happens because you went through it alone।
हम्म,
And that is why when I told you that isolation में बच्चे चले जाते हैं, बच्चे parties में जाना बंद कर देते हैं, that means they're going through shit alone, they're not talking to their friends, they're not talking to their best friends, they're not talking to their parents। And that is what parents have to know कि उनके बच्चे बच्चे नहीं हैं when they are a teenage, at their teenage years they are not kids and they are not adults, but this transition is very important। You have to treat them with respect, you have to treat them like they understand the world, because they do understand the world। इसीलिए सेक्स एजुकेशन की लोग बात करते हैं नहीं, क्योंकि अगर आप नहीं करोगे वो पॉर्न देखेंगे, अगर आप उनसे नहीं बात करोगे वो जाके स्ट्रेंजर्स से बात करेंगे ऑनलाइन, एंड दैट हैपेंस अ लॉट। People go on Facebook, talk to random as strangers because they can't talk to their parents। So these things have to be tackled. If they're not tackled, then there are a lot of other issues that can come up।
और एक्चुअली आई फील लोगों को ज़्यादा फर्क भी नहीं पड़ता है। मतलब मेरे को कोई चीज़, कोई इंसान दिखा, मेरे को शायद वो अच्छा नहीं लगा, या फिर मैंने उसको जज करा, 2 सेकंड की वो बात है, उसके बाद मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ेगा, या फिर 10 मिनट बाद मुझे याद भी नहीं रहेगा कि वो कौन। एट लास्ट जो मैं अपने बारे में सोचता हूँ वो है जो मतलब उसकी वैल्यू है, पर जो दूसरा हमारे बारे में सोच रहा है आई डोंट थिंक उसकी कोई वैल्यू भी है।
हमेशा होती है. मैं काउंसलर हूँ. I know that what other people think is bullshit and I don't have to take it on myself. I always take it. We live in a society and we are called social beings. We cannot not think about others. We will be affected by others' judgment. We will think कि अच्छा वो क्या सोचेगा. It is in our system. It is how we behave. It is how we live. Like अभी आप बाहर जाओगे क्या कपड़े पहन रहे हो, you will always think because you're being judged by other people and not because पजामा पहन के आप बाहर नहीं जा सकते. आप अगर कोई डेट पे जा रहे हो तो आप पजामा नहीं पहनोगे बिकॉज there's another person looking at you, there are waiters looking at you. अगर आप घूमने जा रहे हो with your friends and everybody decides ठीक है पजामा पहन के जाते हैं, you will wear that pajama. You won't dress up because you are in a society, you are amongst people, you will be judged, you will judge other people. You cannot, in any case, I have not met anyone who is not bothered by another person. You will have your own ideas about yourself, but you'll also think about others. It's impossible to not think about others, and uh, it's possible to still stick with what you believe, but you will always look out for कि ठीक है environment कैसा है, लोग कैसे हैं, कहाँ से आए हैं, stuff like that.
तो एक काउंसलिंग साइकोलॉजिस्ट कैसे हेल्प कर सकता है जो
Mm.
बच्चे आना चाहते हैं, लेकिन कईयों को क्योंकि अ, आना इतना इजी नहीं होता, कईयों को अ, रास्ता नहीं पता होता कि हम कैसे कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं काउंसलर से।
So
तो
one big thing is that social media is a con because of all these body image problems, but it's also a pro.
हम्म,
That now you can find counselors online. You can find counselors on Instagram, and you can find counselors like me who are masters in psychology, who understand human behavior, and who are there to listen to you without judgment. So आप बाहर जा सकते हो पजामा के and judge हो सकते हो, but यहाँ इस session में you will not be judged. Even if you come and tell me I'm more with someone, you will not be judged. We will be working towards what issues you are dealing with. आपको पता है सबसे बड़ी दिक्कत इंसान में ये है कि वो बात नहीं कर पाता, एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पाता व्हाट दे ऑलवेज वांट टू. And this space, counseling gives them the space to express what they can't express anywhere. And there's another human being sitting across the session, another human being telling them, hey, you're not wrong, you are not acceptable, you are good enough. It's just that कुछ गलत लोगों ने आपको कुछ गलत समझा दिया और आपने वो मान लिया. So you start unlearning the things that you have learned about yourself. That is how counseling helps. It helps you connect towards yourself again. Mostly that.
सो एक लास्ट एडवाइस जो शायद आप टीनेजर्स को देना चाहते हो ताकि वो अपनी इमेज, अपनी बॉडी इमेज के बारे में अच्छी तरह एक बार सोच पाए।
Now, this is going to come from a very personal experience, and I'm going to tell you that there'll always be someone who will comment on your body, always, and you will be bothered. I'm not saying you will not be. There's a more possibility of you being bothered than unbothered, but I want you to focus on what makes you happy. If a sport makes you, but I want you to move your body, ठीक है, be it dance, be it walking, anything that helps, because movement is one of the biggest ways you can feel like your own self. You can feel like you're taking care of yourself. You can feel nicer in your mental space. That I want you to move in any way whatsoever. Second, I want you to strive for health in a way that is not defined by body, but it is defined by how much you have stamina, how much strength you have, how much you can enjoy a game such as badminton or football or basketball. I want you to go out there to just put yourself out there, be it whatsoever reason. And this advice comes from a personal experience because when I did that, I did gain confidence. When I went out there, when I started working on my health more, not trying to look like someone, it was way more effective than when I try to look like someone. Because जब हम सोचते हैं कि ठीक है ऐसे दिखेंगे, तब we obsess over the way we look. We don't think about the way we feel, the way our bodies are feeling. We don't want to be like Ben Carpenter, where he hated having abs. We want to be happy if we do have abs eventually. So this is one advice that I would give every student, to just work on themselves in terms of happiness and sports, and enjoy themselves. And if they don't like sports, they can do dancing. I know a lot of female friends of mine who don't like sports, and it's not a stereotype, they just don't like sports. They like dancing, so they went ahead and became dancers, which is as similar as playing football. It's very, very intense. So this is my biggest advice to all of them there.
Okay. So here we would like to end our podcast. Thank you so much for
Thank you
joining.
so much for having me. Yes.
Yeah. So